Sit down. Welcome, welcome. Feeling so good from the inside out. Better than your morning would. Feel without stretching our self-awareness like a muscle every weekday morning, 5:30 a.m. Speaking of stretching our self-awareness, how are you? How art thou on this Wednesday, September 29th, 2021? How are you today? Where are you? Are you out there at the mall today? Are you watching us live? Or are you watching us in a VOD? Are you willing to allow these words go in one ear and out the other? I've got on my black and white shirt today. It's got character, they say. Wherever you are, whenever thou art. Wherever you are, whenever thou art. Whether you are here now or there in the future, whether you are driving a car or whether you are walking on a sidewalk. Whether you joined us here on YouTube or D Live, or whether you are joining us on Twitch, joining here with us on Twitch. In this simulation of ours, in which we die every 5 minutes, but that timer is reset with every breath you take, we are holding our controller properly together today on Palgo on this wonderful Wednesday. And it is a Wednesday, 5:35 a.m. on Wednesday, September 29, 2021. And you know that means that today is another Warfare Wednesday here on Palgo. Where we use our sense of the world to make sense of the world. If we would hold our controller properly today, wherever you are, whenever thou art, how do we hold our controller properly in this simulation of ours in which we die every 5 minutes, but that timer is reset with a breath? I will tell you how, if you would join me, if you would please join me in pretending that there is a candle in front of every person's lips, about the distance that this microphone is. That there's a candle in everybody's awareness. In their awareness, everybody's awareness, their mind awareness, their body's awareness. They do in their imagination place a candle about 1 to 2 inches in front of the lips that they're trying to not put out. And they're not trying to put it out. It's just flickering there, waving back and forth. And you're not thinking about exhaling, you're not thinking about inhaling, as we are holding our controller properly today and every day, all the time, no matter what you're doing. There's always a candle in every person's awareness placed in front of their lips that they're trying to not put out. Instead, it is just flickering there. And they're not thinking about exhaling or inhaling, only that there's a candle in front of their lips waving there, and they're just trying to not put it out. As you remember that the tip of your tongue wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth, and the back 1/3 of your tongue is indeed vertical, up and down, up and down. If you would just say it with me, even if it's just in your head, up and down, up and down. The back 1/3 of your tongue, no matter what you're doing, whether you're speaking to someone and you just got us in your earphones right now, maybe in your iPhone, your AirPods, no matter what you're doing, the back 1/3 of your tongue is vertical, up and down. Say it with me, even if it's just in your head. Up and down, up and down. Up and down, up and down. And the sensations related to having that candle in front of your lips that you're trying to not put out happen to be the sensations that run through your body when wanting to encourage a proper breath, a godlike breath, as in a breath that allows you to wash out suffering that you feel on the inside, whether that be heartbreak, whether that be laziness, whatever it might be that is ailing you today. Good morning. How does it feel to hold that controller properly? Don't just take my word for it ever for anything on this show, as we are allowing these words to enter one ear and out the other. As we are holding our controller properly, no matter what we are doing in this simulation, and right? No matter what we are doing in this simulation of ours, we remain in our body, do we not? Our struggles to be less lazy, our struggles to overcome hardship, our struggles to overcome heartbreak, our struggles to overcome abandonment issues from the inside out, our struggles to give ourselves energy when we know that we desire to use this energy. For example, when we want to study for a test that we know we're motivated to do, always in this body of ours. And as we are always in this body of ours, should there ever be a time in which you do not want to hold this controller properly? I think not. No matter what we are going through, we always want to be holding this controller properly so that whatever we are going through it in the best possible way. in the best possible way that we possibly can, reduce our heartbreak every distance we can to make sure that whatever we are doing, we feel most authentic when we do it. Are you ready to spiritually arm up? Are you ready to spiritually armor up on Warfare Wednesday? Today is Warfare Wednesday, September 29, 2021. Another Warfare Wednesday. It is 5:39 a.m. Are you ready to get some spiritual armor on? The world is trying to break us down, but they're not going to take us alive. We are certainly at war. You might notice a gigantic schism in our ability to agree with one another in the country right now, in the West, or wherever you are. The entire world is having a hard time consolidating or agreeing on many topics that we used to agree on. World right now is having a hard time feeling agreeable with one another. We are certainly at war. The world is having a hard time breaking through the idea of the self. The world is having a hard time getting through to you, getting through to each other. The world is having a hard time getting through to each other. We are certainly at war. We might notice a sudden inversion, a sudden confusion of what is correct, of what we should be doing with our lives, of what matters, of what means anything, of what anything means. We are certainly at war. You might notice that there's a large disparity now in the agreement between people who used to be friends, between family members. Large disagreements that may be coming from misunderstandings. But it is hard to break through to the human design, since we all know there is only so much time on this earth. How much time do we spend bending? How much time do we spend agreeing with one another just for the sake of it? We are certainly at war. As we are stretching our self-awareness and remembering that the tip of our tongues always want to be anchored to the back of the bottom of our teeth, and the back 1/3 of our tongues being vertical. As we are stretching our self-awareness every morning. As we are learning to baseline ourselves so that we can have a relationship with ourselves, to begin understanding how the world affects us, so we can begin understanding the world at all, as we are the lens and the observer. We are the observer and the observed. Rather. As we are remembering that we are not just the observer, but also the observed. We might observe that our entire culture right now is having a hard time agreeing on what it means to be good. Whether that be being good to yourself and what your pleasures want right now, or good to the people around you, what is good. You might notice a large shift in the way that we're thinking. You might notice a large shift in what is in our awareness. You might notice a large shift in what we care about. You might notice a large shift in what we consider love. You might notice a large shift away from people who you previously loved. You might notice a large shift towards new things that you seem to love. You might notice a large shift in the people around you. You might notice a large shift in the attitudes about you from the people around you. And you might think it's the people around you, and you might think that it's the people who used to care about you that suddenly changed their ideas about you. What you are feeling is the war. We are certainly at war. Interpersonal relationships in the last 10, 20 years. Something to be admired, something to love for the rest of our lives. Changed before our very eyes, before we could do anything about it. We are certainly at war. What we are feeling is not the disagreement, not necessarily the changes of these people, not necessarily the lack of love from our neighbors, from our families, from our friends, in which we used to care about so much, so deeply in this country. But what you are feeling is not the abandonment of your fellow people, fellow man, fellow women. What you're feeling is the war. We are certainly at war when we have been at war. The people that you miss, the people that you feel like have gone distant. Why have they gone distant? We have different ideas on what social media is showing us, but we cannot communicate. What we are feeling is not the distance between us and our friendships and our families. What we are feeling is the war. We are certainly at war. We'll be right back to talk about what we can do about this war, what we can do to win it back. We will not let them take us alive. We will always hold this controller properly, pretending that there's a candle in front of everyone's lips, including the ones that we miss the most. And remember that the tip of our tongues want to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth. The back 1/3 of the tongue wants to be vertical, up and down, up and down, up and down, vertical, up and down. And we don't sit on our legs. Are you feeling the front of your shins? We'll be right back after this short break. We're certainly at war. We are at war. Spiritual warfare? What? Warfare? We are at war? Spiritual warfare? Who cares about spiritual warfare? We're not shooting ghosts at each other. I can handle a few ghosts. Spiritual warfare? Come at me, bro. Come at me, bro. What do you mean we're at war? Welcome, 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 welcome. Come in, come in, come in. Welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back. Are you ready to stretch our self-awareness like a muscle? Are you ready to wake the world up physically, mentally, spiritually, and then physically again? Why? To feel good, to feel better, objectively. How is that even possible? With the help of your only no-nonsense podcast brought to you through the best feeling network and the help of your own body, baby, from the inside out. Welcome back. My name is Herbie, and this has been How Go On. Welcome to another Warfare Wednesday. It is 5:49 a.m. Welcome back from the break. Warfare, we are certainly at war. Spiritual warfare? Warfare that we cannot see. Who the heck cares? Who the heck cares? I came in here thinking you were talking about a real war, Herbie. A real war. Against countries, against people. There will be blood. There will be bloodshed. There will be tears. There will be violence. You came here looking for violence. We are at war. Not all wars are fought with violence. Not all wars end up looking the same. Unfortunately, whether we want to believe it or not, we are certainly at war. Whether that be against ourselves or whether that be against other countries, it's all the same and are all being used all at the same time. Why? How do you know that? What the hell do you mean? There is a war outside right now going on in the world. Not just against China, against the United States, not just against the West versus the East, but also a war with you against yourselves, against you and your family, against you and your humanity, against you and your human condition. Are these two wars the same? Yes. Why? Because wars are no longer fought with just mortar and bullets and bombs no more, but rather humanity itself, the human spirit. You can win a war without losing a life, metaphorically. Should you simply change the ideas, change the nature of the people at which you are at war with. Now, there is always a war with you against yourself. This is how it has been with humanity entirely. In its entire time of existence, there has always been a war with humanity against itself. We struggle against our subconscious, our human condition. We wonder what our purpose is. We struggle with our purpose. We struggle with finding a mate to continue while simultaneously feeling like our purpose is worth it. We fight a war with ourselves. It always has been this way with human beings. Out comes our spirit and how we feel about our life and how we feel about continuing on with what we are doing in our life. Out comes our spirit as we analyze this war with ourselves that has always been existent since the beginning of time. Humans have always been at war with themselves, hence religion. Hence what religion is. This idea to structure the human experience in order to get something that we know that deep down we want. Culture itself becomes a religion because you happen to follow all the religious aspects. You follow the culture religiously, and what do you get out of it? You get acceptance from people, which is a strength which you use to overcome hardship, which all religion advertises to do in the end. Oh, are you lonely? Our religion will help you with that. Oh, you have this other human condition, like you're hungry? Our religion will help you with that. Oh, you have this other situation in which you want to be accepted by people around you? Our religion can help you with that. Each religion will have their own way to do it. Culture has its own way of doing it, namely through human acceptance of other people and be like, yeah, you'll be cool if you know all this stuff. And what happens when you're cool? You get all the advantages. You get advantages of being cool, which happen to help our human spirit in such and such ways because our human spirit has needs, right? It has to be social, so the culture can help with that. All these needs, different religions will appeal to your different needs, whether they be social or sexual or mate finding or family needing needs. Every religion, including culture, has a way to answer that. And so we align to them. We are at war, not just with ourselves, but also with the West and the East. Now, what you'll see here in the West is a major inversion of what we know to be standard. Up is down, left is right, right is wrong, wrong is okay. Because we are at war. We talk about our families, our friends. Oh, they act so different. Oh, our families. Oh, what? Our families? Oh, they don't care about nobody no more because they get vaccinated. Oh, our families? Oh, they don't care about nobody no more because they don't get vaccinated. Oh, our families, our friends, they don't care about nobody no more because they don't wear masks. What we are feeling is not a large shift away from love, but what we are feeling is the war. The inversion of what our inner world knows to be true in order to affect our inner war, because we are at war. A war of non-bloodshed, a war of information, a war of the human spirit, an information war, a data war. We are in a post-factual world in which facts do not matter. Why? Because the human spirit don't care about facts no more. We've all been so dissuaded. We've all been so jaded. We've all been so pushed away from caring about the media, about the news, about the facts, as we are overwhelmed with facts, intentionally, mind you, as we are at war. As we are overrun intentionally with facts daily that we can no longer verify. None of these facts we can verify. When you think about it, you can't even verify the vaccine. We go by trust of what people are saying because we do not have God. God, Herbie, as in the sky God thing? No, God is in a trust in ourselves, a trust in our own logic and reasoning again. So what do? We look at experts in which we don't know. We don't know these people. We cannot verify them. And as we know, all human beings have needs because we all must have a candle in front of our lips that we're trying to not put out. We all have tongues that want to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth, remember. Because we're not thinking about exhaling or inhaling. There's just a candle in front of your lips. And it's just flickering there. And remembering that the back 1/3 of our tongues are vertical, up and down, up and down, up and down. As these scientists may have the best interests in mind, they are still at the end of the day human beings, and human beings, all of us at which are in a world right now that does have no relationship with the self's ability to overcome from the inside out. No relationship with knowing thyself, knowing the fact that the back 1/3 of the tongue is vertical, up and down, up and down. And why does that matter? In order to get a proper breath, in order for our body to feel better, to win its inner war, in order to see the war that is going on outside. Why would we not care about a war that's going on the outside if there really is one, Herbie? If there really is one, Herbie, how do we not care? Why do we not see it? Because we are losing the spiritual warfare from the inside. Other things will take much higher priority. We all only have one life to live. We are also very smart in this window to this godlike experience that your body is. We are also smart. We recognize that we are going to pass away one day very soon. Relatively. If all things go well, hopefully we will survive a good 70 to 80 years. A good 70 to 80 years. And we understand that we are so smart and we think it's a good thing. But as such, we recognize that some things take priority over others, right? There's this war out there, Herbie. You're telling me that there's this war out there, Herbie, but I care more about my family not loving me no more. I care more about me not feeling like I can keep my friends, me not feeling like I can keep like this romantic relationship, me feeling like I'm gonna die alone. There's a war out there, Herbie. Well, I feel like I'm gonna die alone. So I don't care about a war out there. But what if I told you you being afraid of you dying alone? What if I told you not being able to get your friends back? What if I told you and your family disagreeing was not you, but rather this warfare on this outside that you cannot see that is being afflicted onto you? They are trying to take us alive. They are trying to rip us apart. They will not do it. We will hold our controller properly, pretending that there's a candle in front of our lips that we're trying to not put out. Remembering that the back 1/3 of our tongue is vertical, up and down, up and down, up and down. And the tip of our tongue wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth. Just the same way that we want to satisfy all these inner needs. Just the way we want to satisfy all of these inner needs, the tip of our tongue wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth, so that our own spirit shall not be used against us. It will not take us alive, for we have our needs. But our ability to have a relationship with ourselves allows us to get our needs met and not be abused. But we are so desperate for those needs. We can get our needs met from the inside. We'll be right back after this short break. We're certainly at war. But as everything is on Pago 1, it's a good thing. We'll be right back. Not just here in the West, not just there in South America, not just there in Africa, not just there in Antarctica, not just there in Korea, not just there in Japan, not just there in Thailand, not just there in Taiwan, everywhere, including China. Everywhere, we are at war in the same way. Now, there are large forces. There are large forces of particular people, large swaths of tyranny that will abuse this warfare. And on the outside, on the surface, there may look like there are large waves of people that are abusing this warfare in which we are all involved in. So it may look like there are factions that are separated at borders, separated at country, separated at color, separated at culture. We are indeed at war. However, that war, the factions are split not at culture, not at border, not at race, but at every individual. At every individual, just like you, the factions, the borders of this war, where the lines are drawn for the teams of this war are drawn at you, the individual. Not China, not Russia, not the borders, but rather the individual. As there are large swaths of tyranny in the world, but none of which are made possible without the individuals losing the war across the world. The individuals losing the inner war across the world the ability for their spirit to satisfy all their own needs so that they do not align with necessarily the outside world needs of some other individual out there who might be ready to abuse their needs. The individual war within each of us to have our needs met from the inside out, as in hold our controller properly no matter where you are, no matter how much money you have, no matter how much love you feel like you have, no matter where you are in the world, no matter whether you're on vacation or whether you are at work, we are always holding our controller properly by pretending that there's a candle in front of not just ours, but everybody's lips that we're trying to not put out. We're not thinking about exhaling and we're not thinking about inhaling. We're just pretending that there's a candle in front of every person's lips that they're trying to not put out. And we are holding our controller properly today and every day in every way, as you remember the back 1/3 of our tongues wants to be vertical, always up and down, up and down. And we're not putting that candle out. We're not thinking about exhaling or inhaling. And remembering that the back or the tip of our tongues wants to be, say it with me, even if it's just in your head, anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth. Even if it's just in your head, anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth. Say it with me. The tip of your tongue wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth. As we're not thinking about inhaling or exhaling, we're just pretending there's a candle in front of our lips and everybody's lips that we're all trying to not blow out. Don't we have needs? Don't we have to win this spiritual battle from the inside? Don't we have needs? Don't we feel like we need to be loved first and foremost? Don't we feel like we need to have food? Don't we feel like we need to have water? Don't we feel like we need to have companionship? Don't we feel like we want to have a lover for the rest of our lives? Don't all these needs arise in our lives and we prioritize our lives? We cannot even verify that these other places exist, only what our body is feeling right here, right now. And when these needs arise, do we not care about them, prioritize them because this is our life? We have one life and we are suffering. We have these needs, these companionship, romantic, food, water needs, entertainment needs, family needs. I care about a war out there, but I got these needs first. We have these needs from the inside. We need all those things. And how did we get by without remembering that there's a candle in front of our lips? We're trying to not put out a relationship with our own design to be able to address these needs from the inside out. Those feelings arise in our body and they create stress in our body, conflict in our body, and our body needs to feel better because we have one body, we have one life, and we